This is Tim Allen with the Massey Allen Group out of Long Pinot Realtors here in Walnut Creek, California. New for 2017, we're going to be doing some marketing photos, short, sweet, educational. The topic today is appraisals. Today with me I have my business partner Ed Massey and also Danielle Schaefer from Private Mortgage Advisors. I'm going to ask them a few questions about appraisals today and the risks involved to a transaction and how we mitigate those risks. So Danielle, if you don't mind, could you explain the process of appraisals today versus in the past?
Sure. So basically, back in 2010, there were some regulations put into place which basically created some separation between the appraisers and the lenders and or banks. And the idea was that direct communication between the two was not a good idea, and appraisals were getting inflated in price and things like that. So through that process, AMCs were created, which are appraisal management companies, and basically they now manage the appraisers and the orders that come in from the lenders and the banks. So the problem with this is that, for me, example, when I go to order an appraisal, that goes to the AMC company. I don't really know who's going to get the order in terms of the actual appraiser, how qualified or experienced they are, if they're in the area or not, if they're familiar with the area. And so that can present some challenges when it comes to purchasing and getting a qualified appraisal done.
Okay, so let's say you call the appraisal company, they give you a name. What kind of explain the process a little bit more? Why would we get an appraiser that may not be necessarily qualified for our area or for the home?
Sure. So unfortunately, part of what the AMCs do is they have a fee schedule for what the appraisal will cost, and that can vary depending upon the type of home, the type of appraisal needed, if there's a rush needed on the appraisal, and then they take that fee and then they basically shop the appraisers that are on their list for more times than not. From what I've heard from other AMCs, this is what has been told to me, that they'll look for the appraiser that's willing to do it for the cheapest cost, essentially. And so what happens with that is then you get appraisers, again, that maybe aren't as experienced, don't know the area as well, and you get kind of sloppy and inaccurate appraisals with that process in place.
Okay, so knowing those risks, Ed, what do you do for our buyer clients to help manage the process and mitigate those risks?
Sure. So I'm the one who receives the phone call for access to the property. And I have a dialogue with the appraiser and ask them just a couple questions. Do you live nearby? Do most of your appraisals occur here in this general area? Because sometimes I'll get an appraiser that says, hey, I'm going to appraise your property in Walnut Creek, but they're from Vacaville or Sacramento. And they just don't have a lot of local knowledge and understanding of the climate of our local marketplace. So I always ask, are you from the area? What's your experience in the area? And where do you do most of your business? Because I want the appraiser to have the local knowledge of the house that they're appraising, because it's much more than just data. There's market trends and knowledge of being a local resident. Then I ask is, what tier are you? There's a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3. And it basically is 1's the best, 2 is satisfactory, and 3 is, could be new. And while there's nothing wrong with a new appraiser, you do want legitimate data on this big purchase that you're making. So if it is a tier 3, I go back to Danielle and ask her to ask the AMC to possibly reassign the appraiser, because while we just want accurate data to reflect good, high or low, but usually they're always tier 1 and tier 2, especially coming from Private Mortgage Advisors, and we've had pretty good success. But in the event we find out our appraiser is not local or not up to snuff in regards to experience, we do ask for a new appraisal. Second, I have a conversation with the appraiser about comps and what he or she sees in the marketplace. And I also meet the appraiser at the property and provide what I think are the best comps. I'm not trying to influence the transaction, but be supportive, because 2 sets of eyes are better than 1.
Is there anything different that you would do for our seller client if we're on the listing side?
I still try to meet the appraiser at the property. So when the AMC or the loan officer has a choice saying who's going to provide access, I always try to quarterback that one. It's always very easy as the buyer's agent, but as the listing agent, I always kind of volunteer right away. Hey, I'll meet the appraiser at the property, provide access. And I do the same thing for our seller clients. I provide the best comps that I think will support the sales price for my seller.
Anything else to add, Daniel?
I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Just a quick tip. Tim Allen, Ed Massey, Massey Allen Group, Danielle Schaefer, Private Mortgage Advisors.
Thank you, guys.
Message us if you have any
Thank you.
questions. Thanks for your time.